I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, tonight led by James Koch II and Isabella Smith, two students from Elliott Elementary. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilman Hart will be right down to talk to you.
Great job, guys. You don't have to look so scared. We got this. Trust me, I'm more nervous than you are. They record these and they make fun of me later. Come on, turn around. Let's go ahead so everybody can see you. All right, so we got two students from Elliott Elementary. They came in today to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. First to my left is James, and right next to him is Isabella. So James, you gave us a little bit of a bio here, so it's pretty big. So I am 8 years old, and I'm a second grader in Mrs. Tracy's classroom. I've had a lot of good experience at Elliott and made a lot of friends. My favorite subject is math because I like to figure out the numbers. Well, you need to talk to Dan Block after this. You can help him out a little bit, okay? I like to play sports with my brother and friends. He likes to play football, and he used to play flag football. He practices soccer with people and plays games on his trampoline, and he really just likes all sports. Well, fantastic. So what sport do you like the most?
Football.
Football. You gonna give the Lions some help next year, maybe?
No.
No? Yeah, they're not ready for you yet, I think, so. Well, James, I got a little certificate here for you, and make sure I grab the right one. Here we are. So why don't you hold that and do me a favor and trade spaces with Isabella real quick. All right, next up is Isabella Smith. Isabella is 9 years old, and she also goes to Elliott Elementary. And she is in third grade in Mrs. Steff's class, is that right? Very good. My favorite thing about school is math because you learn new stuff, like division and new strategies for multiplying and quantum mathematics. You didn't say that, did you? No, okay. Differential equations, anything like that? No? Okay. You guys both really like math, figuring stuff out. Dan, you got some help here, man. You need to tap into this resource. One of her favorite things to do is play with Hatchimals and to lay on her bed and read. Now, that's something I like to do, but not so much read, sleep, but I digress. I like to read Madeline and chapter books. My favorite chapter book so far is the one and only Ivan by Catherine Applegate. When I grow up, I would like to be a vet and help pets. Do you have any pets at home?
No.
Okay, we'll get you some. I tell you what, I got a crazy little Australian Shepherd. She's a puppy right now. You can play with her all you want. Okay. Do we have Miss Griffin here, the principal? Can you come on up real quick? What else have I not said that you can help us out with?
There's lots to say about these two. So I'll try to make it quick. I could be here all night, but we won't. So Elliott has a mission called, it's Leaders, Elliott Eagles, well, let's try this again. Elliott Eagles lead, achieve, and soar together. And so when I was asking some teachers, I need a couple leaders to help with the pledge, these two, their names came up. And it's because they truly embody Elliott's mission. So how do they lead? Every single day. You can see these two following our 3 expectations. We only have 3 expectations at Elliott: to be safe, to be respectful, and to be responsible. These two are always safe, always respectful, always responsible. And they're achieving like crazy. So that's because they follow the 7 habits of highly effective kids. Elliott's a Leader in Me school, and these two are embodying the Leader in Me habits. They are achieving because they put first things first. They begin with the end in mind. They're proactive, and because of that, they're doing phenomenal work in their classroom. And they both just took their NWEA test, and they are knocking it out of the park on their scores, especially in math, and you know they love math. So the other piece of our motto is that they soar together, eagles soar together. These two are good friends to everybody because they're kind, they're considerate, they synergize with their classmates, so they're well liked by everybody. So we are so proud to have Isabella and JJ as our leaders at Elliott.
Well, Thank you very much. Well, so thank you for bringing them in. I'd like to invite the parents and the family to come on up here and take some of the credit for these outstanding kids. Come on up. So I'll put you on the spot real quick. So what do you got to say about Isabella?
She's a great kid, love my daughter. She loves going to school, and she loves everything that she talked about.
Wonderful. So I'm going to run over here real quick. So I like these guys because it's James and Jim and me. So this works out pretty good. So what can you tell me about James that we haven't heard already?
That he just likes to be around people. He's a people person, and he's always trying to do things and invent new things and come up with new games, and he's just very outgoing.
Well, again, we're really glad you brought him here, James. We're going to look forward to seeing you with either your name on the back of your jersey or your name up there in my spot on the council dais someday. So with that, let's give our young leaders a round of applause.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green. Present. Councilman Hammonds. Here. Councilman Hart. Here. Councilman Johnson. Here. Councilman Londo. Here. President Pro Tem Hersberg.
Here.
And President Godbout is absent, excused.
We'll move on to announcements and presentations. First up, Don Nicholson.
President Pro Tem Hersberg and City Council. Usually I'm up here to talk about car shows and cruises and coming to town, and today I'm actually happy to be here to help present something. I'm here representing Motor City's National Heritage Area, which happens to be an affiliate of the national parks. Our job is to preserve, promote, and protect auto and auto labor history. I'm going to bring up our director here in a minute because the reason we normally don't do this, or executive director, is we usually do what we're doing tonight at our annual meeting. And the recipient of the award that we're doing, it happens to be a Westland resident and wasn't able to make it to our awards meeting because of his wife being in the hospital. Happily, she's doing well. And so I'd like to introduce Sean Palmaville, our executive director, and bring up Tony Tocco, who's our recipient this year.
Thank you. Thank you, Don. Good evening, President Pro Tem and the City Council of Westland. I'm Sean Palmaville-Size. It's my honor to be Executive Director of the National Heritage Area for Motor Cities. You might not even know that you're in a National Heritage Area. It's 16 counties, 10,000 square miles set aside in the state of Michigan to honor the fact that this is the place that put the world on wheels. So we look at that heritage, we promote it through education programs, through tourism, and through economic development. And we have a Volunteer of the Year award. We started it 5 years ago. And I'm here to present a little bit late the 2018 Volunteer of the Year award to Tony Tocco, who is a citizen of the fine city of Westland. And Tony has been volunteering for 5 years for us, at least 4 events every summer. He often volunteers with his wife, Molly, and one of their favorite events is the Old Car Festival in Dearborn. This is Tony Tocco, everybody. Often Molly will dress up in the turn-of-the-century clothing about the time that the Model T was created, and they'll have some fun times in Dearborn. So we urge all of you to get out and learn about your auto heritage. We have a passport book where you can get a stamp when you go to all of the museums and the archives and the mansions of the auto barons. So, though it's a little late, Tony, for your faithful 5 years of service to help us promote and preserve the auto heritage of this region, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Motor Cities National Heritage Area with this nice trophy.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
So turn around. Yeah. And thank you, Don. Don Nicholson is a member of the Board of Directors of the Motor Cities National Heritage Area. Thank you very much.
Peter, can we get a picture with you?
Sure. Next up, we'll hear from Wayne County Commissioner Glenn Anderson.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give you a brief update on where Wayne County is celebrating the 100th anniversary of the parks, Wayne County Park System. And I placed in front of you a copy of the booklet for our park system, activities that are taking place all summer and fall and into the winter, and I hope you'll enjoy some of those events. Place some out front too on the stand for anyone that's here in the audience that didn't get one already or watching at home that would like one. They can also call my office and contact us there, and we can mail them a copy if they'd like. There's a lot of activities there that a lot of fun activities, a lot of them right here in Westland, in the Westland area over in Hines Park. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer it, and I apologize having to leave, but I get to Inkster's City Council meeting right afterwards. Any questions? All right, thank you so much. All right.
Thanks, Glenn. Last on the special presentations is going to be State Representative Kevin Coleman.
Thank you, Councilman Hertzberg, City Council, Kevin Coleman, your state representative. Always glad to be here and see everybody. Hope everybody's having a great week. I just wanted to come up and plug an event we have coming up. We're doing a town hall June 8th. That's a Saturday. So it's Saturday, June 8th, town hall at the Westland Library. That's going to be at 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And I just wanted to invite everybody to come out. I'll also be reaching out to a couple of the council members from both cities I represent, Westland and Wayne. And hopefully some of the city council can attend as well to weigh in on some of the local issues that might come up. I'm expecting we're going to be hearing a lot about auto insurance, and that's something that I said a couple months ago I would update the community on. We had a bill that came to us 2 weeks ago in the House. This came to us in the evening. The final amendments that we voted on were given to us at about 1 in the morning, and then we voted on the bill at about 2 in the morning. And this bill wasn't comprehensive. It didn't guarantee any rate reductions for Westland residents and everybody in Michigan. It didn't ban redlining and using non-driving factors to set rates. There was some language in there that did say that, but it didn't enumerate those factors, so it didn't specifically ban the use of factors that I believe I see it as a violation of our civil rights, that factors like marital status, age, zip code, these factors have nothing to do with the way you drive, your credit score. These are being used to make your rates higher. We have the highest auto insurance rates in the country in our state. So I will be fighting in Lansing on your behalf to make sure that we get a bill, that we get a deal with our governor, Republican leadership, and also the Democratic members of our legislature to make sure that we have fair auto insurance in our state. Again, if you could please attend my town hall June 8th, Saturday at the Westland Library at 11 a.m. I'm going to give out my phone number, my cell phone number, 734-751-6321, if there's any questions. You can also call my office. And then State Representative Jewel Jones, who represents the northeast corner of our city, also sends his regards. He couldn't be here tonight, but I did let him know that I would be attending tonight's meeting, and he sends his regards. Thank you.
Thanks. We'll move on to citizens' questions or input on the agenda. Citizens will be recognized before the business of the meeting commences to address the council pertaining to items that are specifically on the business agenda. Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Anyone in the audience? We'll close citizens' comments on the agenda and move on to the consent calendar. Motion by Councilman Johnson, supported by Councilman Londo. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? No dissent, the motion carries.
Council has approved the following consent calendar item. Adoption of resolution accepting the long-term maintenance of stormwater management system and corresponding maintenance agreement executed by the developer of FNA LLC of 38276 Ford Road. The mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Moving to new business, item 1, approval of minutes of regular meeting held May 6, 2019.
Motion by Councilman Hart. Is there support? Support. Support by Councilman Londo. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Councilwoman Green.
I have my light on for discussion.
Apologies.
Yes, in terms of the meeting minutes, it's missing the motion that I made at the meeting. I made a motion to table all conference reimbursement requests for all elected officials until such time that City Council meets and establishes a written travel policy that we all have to follow to ensure that we're all treated equally. The motion was placed on the floor and none of the present councilmen supported it. So I would like that documented in these meeting minutes and the meeting minutes reissued. Thank you.
Speaking to that issue, Councilwoman, the meeting minutes reflect the action at a meeting, and if an item does not receive support, it does not make it into the minutes.
Thanks. Yep. 1 second.
Respectfully, through the chair, the minutes are supposed to entail all activity at the meeting. So there is nothing that gives you the ability as the clerk to distinguish what is included and what is not. And if I am incorrect, I would like you to provide that to me because I haven't been able to find anything that gives you that authorization. It occurred at the meeting. I put a motion on the floor to ensure that I am no longer discriminated against. The sitting present council members each did not support it. It happened at the council meeting, and I want it documented in the meeting minutes. And if you are refusing to do that so that we don't enter into a debate, I would like you to send me that in writing. Thank you. And the reason for the refusal. Thank you.
And what I'll be sending to the entire council is verification of Robert's rules, which we have adopted. I don't make these decisions. They're made by the laws that we follow, the rules that are in place for us to abide by. And it's simply the way that business is done. I don't make the determination. But I will provide reference to it. I've told folks, you know, we on occasion there might be somebody that asks me, why didn't you mention the comment that such and such made at the meeting? And the reason for that is that I'm not a stenographer. We take minutes of meetings. Minutes are the action items of the meeting. So again, I will provide that. Thank you.
The city attorney wants to weigh in.
If I may, I'll try to attempt to clarify. The purpose of the meetings is to document the business that is conducted by the public body, the city council. So the minimum requirement would be the actions that are actually taken. It's not an attempt to record verbatim everything that was said at the meeting. So thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair to the city attorney, this issue regarding what I believe and what my attorneys believe is discrimination, I need it to be documented. So, and my attorneys have advised me and I have actually gotten meeting minutes from other municipalities that our meeting minutes do not fully entail the discussion at our city council meetings. There is several activities and discussions that occur at our council meetings that are pertinent, and if anybody goes back and picks up our council meeting, unless they were present or watched the video, it does not fully encompass it. So in terms of me putting a motion on the floor to prevent selective approvals of city council conference travel policy, which they actually during that night they approved travel for the clerk, the mayor, Mike Londo, who's on council with me, and another elected official. They denied mine. So I put a motion on the floor for transparency and that so that we're all treated equal. They denied it. I need it documented in the meeting minutes. And again, I will await the clerk's email, which will suffice. Either way it goes, I'm going to document what is going on in these meetings. And I would expect that the clerk does, but in light of the fact that he is refusing to do it, the email, as I stated, will suffice. Thank you.
To be clear, the clerk is not refusing to do it.
The bottom line is you're not doing it.
Is there any further discussion on the item? Any discussion? Any dissent?
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green.
No.
Councilman Hammonds.
Abstain.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Abstain due to absence.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
And President Godbout is absent. Motion is not sufficient to pass this particular item. New business item 2, approval of minutes of study session held May 6, 2019.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Hart, supported by Councilman Londo. Is there any discussion on this item? Any dissent?
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green.
Microphone on, please.
We're on roll call vote.
Yes.
Councilman Hammonds.
Abstain.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Abstain.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
President Godbout is absent. Motion passes. New business item 3, approval of special land use and site plan for proposed secondhand retail clothing store, 34800 Warren Avenue, the former Toys R Us building. Administration recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations. This is Planning Department number 1430J.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Johnson, supported by Councilman Hart. Mo?
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem. Good evening, members of the Westland City Council. The subject property is located at the northeast corner of Wayne and Warren. The property comprises of 14.85 acres and is zoned CB3 General Commercial. The site is developed with the Westland Crossing Shopping Center that contains 138,960 square feet of retail space. Today, the petitioner proposes to occupy the former Toys R Us space with a second-hand retail clothing store owned and operated by Volunteers of America. I wasn't clear in the package, and I received a question earlier today, so thought I'd share it. The petitioners have the property under a purchase agreement to purchase the property if this petition is successful. So just wanted to add that to the packet information. The site is accessed by a full-service driveway off of Wayne Road. There are also 2 other entry points off of Wayne and 3 other entry points off of Warren, some of which are under reciprocal easements in place for shared usage. Therefore, there is sufficient parking and access. The parking layout appears to be consistent with the previously approved site plan for Toys R Us. Therefore, parking and access to the site is sufficient. The zoning ordinance requires 235 parking spaces, 1 parking space per 200 gross floor area of square footage. The approved site plan shows 253 spaces for this site. You should know here there is a site plan modification also being proposed. The applicant is proposing to construct a donation drop-off area at the northwest corner of the building that will utilize materials similar to the existing building. The drop-off area will include a 6-foot wide landscape island for separation between the parking lot, drive aisle, and the drop-off area. We were in early discussions with the applicant and petitioner on how this design would be drafted and proposed. And there were some concerns from the administration of debris and materials being stored outside and maybe not taken care of in a timely manner. I had some previous experience working with a donation drop-off area for the same exact type of use. And we were also concerned about that situation in the other community. And based off conversations with the applicant, we came up with a strategy that looks exactly like this pictured here for a Goodwill in the region. This donation drop-off area they're proposing will utilize gates on either sides to ensure that it closes after during closing hours. And it'll look exactly like this with the doors for the donation drop-off and some landscape area here, in addition to a decorative fence that will protect the area as well. The special land use will not be detrimental to the orderly development of the surrounding area. It is occupying the vacant Toys R Us space, big box store that is difficult to occupy in today's retail market. And the business nature of the secondhand clothing store is similar to the nature and uses in the adjacent retail plaza. The Planning Commission and Administration are both recommending approval of this special land use and site plan. Thank you.
Is the petitioner in the audience?
Yes.
Yeah. To come up?
Hi.
Any additional information you'd like to provide?
Well, just to let you know that Volunteers of America has been serving the Michigan area since 1896. And in this area, since that very year that we were founded nationwide. So we're very active in a lot of services in community, including services to veterans. We do a tremendous job across the state serving veterans in community. We also provide low-income elderly housing, multifamily housing, and other support services to make sure families don't end up in homelessness, especially veterans' families. So we're here to, the secondhand store helps support that work, but it also gives the community a place to donate and contribute back in community, plus also gives shopping opportunities to people in the community at a reasonable price. The facility will bring approximately 30 jobs to the area when we have it open.
Okay. We'll open up discussion to council. Councilman Hart.
Thank you. Through the chair to the petitioner. Very familiar with Volunteers of America. They are an outstanding organization. I have a friend of mine whose son is on duty with Volunteers of America, so he has a lot of positive things to say. I have a question about the property, specifically the parking lot that surrounds it, and part of the parking lot you're going to kind of take with the purchase of the building. Many times, and I've received some calls from residents in the past that parking lot does suffer some disrepair. Do you have any capital improvement plans to maintain and improve that parking lot once you receive it?
We do. We've talked to the owner of the larger part of the parking lot, and we've agreed to have that parking lot resurfaced. We will be doing the portion that's ours, and he's doing the rest. That was one of his conditions to us as far as us occupying the building, and we said that's what we'd like. We'd like to have it done. So it will be completely redone.
Well, thank you. That will definitely help ease my decision and make a lot of other residents very happy.
Is there any more discussion from council? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, the motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate you all.
New business item 4, approval of mechanical amusement devices licensed establishment, Yo-Yo's Funland, 8044 North Middlebelt. Administration recommends approval contingent upon departmental requirements and recommendations. This is Planning Department number 0311H.
So moved. Motion by Councilman Londo. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilman Hart. Is there a petitioner present for this one? Sure, if you'd like to come up. Mo?
Yes, sorry. The subject property is located at the northeast corner of Middlebelt and Ann Arbor Trail. The property comprises of 6.65 acres and is zoned CB2 shopping center commercial business. The site is developed with the 63,467 square foot Arbor Place Shopping Center. Today, the petitioner is proposing to install 16 video games that include sports types games and prize redemption games inside of Yo-Yo's Funland a business operating an indoor playground for children and families celebrating birthday parties or other similar type celebrations. All devices will be located within the leased space occupied by Yo-Yo's Funland. The proposed amusement device establishment is deemed compatible with the variety of retail and service uses offered in this shopping center and the area. All activities associated with the proposed use will be located indoors and away from the neighboring residential properties to the east and to the north. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. through 8 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. through 9 p.m. Both the Planning Commission and Administration recommend approval of this petition to you. Thank you.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this one from council? Any discussion? Any dissent? Any dissent? Hearing no dissent, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck.
New business item 5, approval of voucher.
Motion by Councilman Johnson. Is there support? Support by Councilman Hart. Is there any discussion on the vouchers? Councilwoman Green?
Yes, thank you. In light of the email that was sent from the city's Human Resources Director, Stephanie Field, on May the 10th, she sent the entire city council, the clerk, and the deputy mayor an email stating that there had been an update to the city's travel policy following the May 6th meeting. The update that was made to that travel policy for the city of Westland stated that the mayor had it changed, which stated that the city council would be establishing a travel policy that we would follow. We currently do not have a travel policy on the record. And again, many of you know what has occurred in terms of my travel policy that has never occurred with any other elected official in the city of Westland. And in light of Stephanie's email and the directive from Mayor Wild, I put a motion on the floor that the conference reimbursements for all city council members be tabled until such time that city council meets and establishes a written travel policy that we each have to follow in accordance to the update that the mayor had changed to the city travel policy on May the 10th.
Is there any further discussion on the vouchers? Any dissent? Any dissent?
I have a motion on the floor.
Can you please repeat the motion?
I didn't know you made a motion. I thought you were referencing a previous motion.
No, I was explaining that the mayor has had the city travel policy changed as of May the 10th to say city council will establish a travel policy for council members. In light of that, and in light of the discrepancy in how we are being treated, actually I am being treated, I am putting a motion on the floor to table all conference reimbursements for all city council members until such time that we meet and establish a written travel policy that each of us have to follow in the future, so there is no more discrepancies and discriminations within this body. Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Councilwoman Green, can you point out in this set of vouchers where a council member has an item?
If you refer to the last meeting we had, you all approved because I asked for them to be held, you approved the reimbursement for President Godbout. You approved, who's an elected official on council, as I am. You approved Michael Londos, who's an elected official. You approved the mayors and the clerks and the judges.
Point of order, this does not apply to the current voucher report.
I can put a motion on the floor relative to vouchers.
Okay.
I have a motion on the floor and he asked for clarity.
There's a motion to table. Is there a second to the motion?
What are we tabling? All future?
We are tabling all conference reimbursements for all of us, city council members, until we meet and get in accordance to what the mayor has documented as being a city policy now, so that you all don't have the right to treat me differently anymore. We should all have to follow the same policy, and you should not be approving travel reimbursements for one other council members and then denying mine when we're all requesting travel reimbursement. There's no difference between our positions.
Councilman Johnson?
I believe we need to approve the original.
Stop.
Okay.
A motion, to provide some clarity here, a motion has been made to table. It requires a second before anybody can ask questions or talk about it. And at that time, because it's a motion to table, there is no discussion. So this body needs to either provide support for that motion or not.
Is there support?
Ask 3 times.
Any support? Is there any support for the motion? Okay. Motion fails, there's no support. Reverting back to the original motion on the vouchers, is there any further discussion? Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, it's not coming up here. 1 second. Should be on.
For a point of clarification, Clerk LeBlanc, I am again asking that, whether it is done or not, I am asking that this motion that I made be documented and that each of the council members who were present, that it be documented that there was no support for this motion.
I understand what you're asking, and that's not going to happen.
I have no problem. I'm stating for the record what I'm requesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question on the motion.
Councilman Johnson?
No, I'm calling for let's vote on the voucher.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Green.
No.
Councilman Hammonds.
Yes.
Councilman Hart.
Yes.
Councilman Hersberg.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Londo.
Yes.
Motion passes.
This time, we're going to move on to citizens' comments or requests. Citizens will be recognized for up to 3 minutes. Is there anyone on my left? Is there anyone on my right? Is there anyone in the audience for citizens' comments? Hang on.
Angela, go ahead.
No,
Good evening. Dan Statshaw, Veterans, Westland Veterans Parade Committee. Just want to remind everybody about the parade this coming Sunday. Change in parade route. We'll be leaving from John Glenn High School on Marquette, up Carlton into Central City Parkway, down behind the Veterans Memorial, where there'll be a short ceremony and possibly a short luncheon after. And that starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll be staging people in a parade starting at 11. Thanks very much. Hope to see everybody there.
Thanks. Is there anyone on my right? Yes.
Praise the Lord. I greet you in the name of Jesus. I would like to bring a scripture here, reading from Mark 9:42. And God said, whosoever shall offend one of these little ones that believe in him, it is better for him that a millstone have hang about his neck and were cast into the sea. I repeat that scripture to say that God is not the author of confusion. The God that I serve, he is a God of many colors. I like to address something here, the sign that I see in Westland. For many years, I looked at that sign and said, American City. And I need to know, is they talking about a tribe of people, a nation of people, or American people. Because if that sign represents freedom here in Westland, then there shouldn't be no discrimination. And then also, I like to say about the flag. When I come in, I don't stand up for this flag in this particular place because I'm not gonna lie to God and I'm not gonna lie to myself. It says one nation. What nation is that? Under God. Would that be a little G for you all? Because my God is a capital big G. And then it said liberty, that means freedom. Justice means justice for all. And we don't have justice for all, we have nothing. Now you talk about taking all the garbage to the landfill, but we gotta clean up right down here. Racism, discrimination, hatred, greediness, and grieve if you read your Bible. When you get the real garbage, then you take it to the landfill. So don't need to go in down there taking some temporary stuff that's gonna smell. I know my minutes is about up, but I'm gonna leave this since the mayor is not present. Our ancestors fought for our liberty and our freedom. We must fight to keep our freedom. Let freedom ring. I'll see you next time.
Is there anyone on my left? Yes, please come up.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrea Rutkowski. I just wanted to send my gratitude to the Veterans Parade Committee and all of the parties that are involved in bringing back our Memorial Parade. I think it's very important that we are given the right honor to our veterans and their fallen brethren. And as a part of the JCs, we're very excited to see that being held in the respectful manner and the appropriate way that it should be. So thank you, and thank all of you for your support in making sure that that comes back.
Thanks. Is there anyone on my right? Mr. Graham?
Richard Graham from Westland and also with Move Westland Forward. About 1 month ago, I was provided paperwork via FOIA for the rental of any city hall rooms for the weekend of August 18, 2018. On that Saturday, August 18, at least 4 areas was rented to James Godbout for 5 hours at a cost of $390. On Sunday, August 19th, 1 room was rented to another resident for 4 hours and was charged over $440. I emailed Council President and received a below response on May 3rd, 2019. Mr. Graham, I made the reservation for the room, the city invoiced me, and I paid the invoice. I emailed City Council, copying the mayor and Mr. Godbout on Thursday, May 9th, with no response. It read, last week I posted on Move Westland Forward about the significant taxpayer issue involving Council President Godbout and what appears to be a special treatment regarding renting space at City Hall. If this is true and he was charged significantly less, maybe $1,000, does this become a criminal event, council member fraud, city employee neglect, or what else? What does it mean for Council President Godbout to accept this possible lower rate, and is it an abuse of his power? Does an extensive audit need to be done for any event held at City Hall since it opened? I was pointed in this direction by a city employee. Rumors and comments about all types of special treatment with renting space has been out there for a while. The rent from City Hall is rolled up into the budget that you approve and becomes a revenue stream. This is taxpayer money that appears to have been abused. And again, the rent goes into the budget as a line item from an expense standpoint, reimbursement standpoint, etc., for anything that goes on within this building. How many other times it has been abused by someone within the administration, city employees? The attached documents show that James Godbout was charged, paperwork was not signed by Mr. Godbout, initials by someone within the city, it looks like HR, for the cost. The other document from someone else that paid the next day, it has the same initials. Was this person overcharged? Should the council president be suspended? Councilman Hart, a few months ago, you were questioning travel expenses for a council member with no council policy that exists. What have you done with this over the last week or so that I emailed? No response?
I'll respond, let me go to council.
Okay, Mr. Landau, you jumped right on board with Junior Councilman Hart on the travel expenses. Have you done anything with this? No, not surprised. Council Pro Tem Hersberg, you are running the meeting, and many citizens voted for you because we believe you are a voice for all residents. What are you going to do about this? What other council members are going to do anything regarding this possible abuse of power? Thank you.
I was named. I'll choose to respond at this time. I believe the question was regarding the travel policy, correct?
That was regarding the email that I sent regarding the renting of City Hall space.
Okay, I'll do that at the end of my comments. We'll continue with citizens' comments. Is there anyone on my left? Is there anyone on my right? Ray?
Wow. Anyway, I'll say something positively here. I got a big webinar that's going to be happening, and I'm telling you something, I've been working really hard. And Mental Health Month is Awareness Month. Because I have to keep telling people, you know, let's be kind to one another, because you just don't know what's going to bring you tomorrow. Anyway, language does matter. I don't care if a person uses a wheelchair, they get treated with respect. If someone has different abilities, they get treated with respect. And that's what it's about. Language does matter. People work in the community, people live in homes. It's going to be a really good webinar, May 23rd from 1:30 to 2:30. I have 180 people so far that signed up. I've been putting a lot of work into this, so I really am looking forward to it. I'm going to put it up on camera for a minute. And the history, you know, I walked it, I lived it, and I know what it feels like. And you know what? My life is a lot better now. And I'm going to keep driving the system. I'm also an ambassador for the DWMHA, getting the word out. Going to different city council meetings now, too. I might be coming here sometimes, but I'm also going to be at other cities. It's important to get the word out about ambassadors and mental health. Mental health is where it's at, and I'm going to put it in a good way, because mental health can help people. So I want to say thank you.
Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Anyone else in the audience? Sure, Steve?
Once again, it's appalling the way Councilwoman Tasha Green is being treated by this city. It's appalling. And the side conversation, Peter and Richard, that you're having, is this an Open Meetings Act, and should that be documented in the meeting minutes, the side conversation that you guys are having? I would like to know the answer.
No, it shouldn't. I was merely suggesting to the President Pro Tem that a motion had been made involving tabling of an item and that no discussion should occur. And that, again, follows Robert's rules. But the fact that I made mention of that, should that be required to be a part of the meeting minutes? The answer is no.
Well, we don't know exactly what you said, because you didn't say it on the mic.
Now you do.
Well, you shouldn't have side conversation where people can't hear. You should say it on the mic, so we know actually what is being said.
And
just a little advice. So thank you. Let me finish, please.
Advice.
Thank you. And as Mr. Graham said, the renting of the rooms at a lot cheaper rate. I would like to see a former investigation done. And I hope you guys actually implement a investigation to be done. Will you guys do that? You don't have an answer? You just shrug your shoulders?
I haven't looked at the facts yet and exactly what President Godbout rented and
Okay.
what other people rented based on the size of the rooms and
If
what other
if
things could have
there's
been included.
a price that's really such a great bargain, are you gonna ask for investigation?
I think that would be appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone on my left? Anyone on my right? Anyone else in the audience? We'll close citizens' comments and move on to comments from the city attorney. Do you have anything tonight?
Nothing from the city attorney's office. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Then we'll start city council comments with Councilman Johnson.
Thank you. I will respond to the room rates. They're all supposed to be standard rates to everybody. Nobody's supposed to get discount prices. As Council Pro Tem stated, if the facts that Mr. Graham presented are true, there truly should be an investigation to find out how that happened. Should not have happened. I've never gotten one of the rooms, but I've heard other people say they paid $400 for one room, a small room. There is a rate fee, and it should be followed by everybody. Travel expenses, Mr. Graham brought that up. I believe the council, and I'll be one of the three, should ask for the council to sit down and make its own travel requirements. The administration can make them for the administration. I think the council should make them for the council. I truly believe all travel should be approved ahead of time. That's how all big businesses run their business. You don't come back and say, I've been here, I've been there, and oh, by the way, I don't have all the bills. It all should be approved before anybody takes any travel, and I think the council should set its own standard, not the administration. I want to talk a little bit about the budget. It's coming up for a vote shortly. There was a request made by me and at least one other council person when we were on public safety departments that we would like to sit down again before we voted to try and beef the numbers up in both the PD and the fire department. There's been no response to that request yet. We still have time to do that. If 2 or 3 people would like to sit down, we would have to find the money, which means we would have to make some cuts, and some would have to put blinders on because the cuts would be made would involve some people currently employed that may or may not be useful to the city. But if we don't do that, I will be a no on the entire budget because we've kicked this ball down the road far enough. Thanks.
Next up, Councilwoman Green. I see you had a request on. I'm not sure when this came in, so we'll go to Councilwoman Green next.
No, I didn't have a new request, but thank you. I just wanted to let the community know that you can find more information about upcoming meetings that I'm going to be having on my Facebook page, Councilwoman Tasha Green. I'm going to have more meetings to get engaged, to get the community engaged. There's going to be a city council election this year. There will also be another one in 2 years, and that's when I'll be running in 2 years. So I look at this as a great opportunity to not only get people engaged, involved in local politics, but also anyone who would like to run for office, who may or may not be happy with the current representation that we have here in the city. Or if you just like to help people in need, I plan on taking the next 2 years to pour into whomever would like to get more involved with our local politics and who may consider running in the next in the election in 2 years from now. So please, once again, Facebook page Councilwoman Tasha Green, or if you have any questions, you can call me directly on my cell phone at area code 734-828-7010. Relative to the city hall rental fee, As some of you know, and I want to thank you, Mr. Graham, for looking into this matter further. I actually did several Freedom of Information Act requests myself to dig into the discrepancy of what is going on in terms of how I am treated. As I stated at a previous meeting, when I attempted to bring in, it was 10 or 11 health systems, Beaumont, Carmenos Cancer, St. Mary Mercy, Oak Street Health, multiple providers came here and provided free health screening. We offered free lunch. From what I was told, it was the first time something like that had happened in the city of Westland. When I went to the city and asked to rent that hall over there and the room to set the food in, to bring medical services to the residents of the city of Westland for free, I was told I was going to have to pay $1,250. So it got to the point over a couple months of back and forth to where I had to threaten to file a civil rights complaint against the city of Westland to get that. And after I had a one-on-one meeting and discussion with the mayor, he agreed to reduce the price. But in terms of the differences in treatment, it's happening across the board. Now, when President Pro Tem stated that he believes it would be appropriate, and Councilman Johnson states that he believes an investigation should be done, that sounds nice. I think it sounds very upstanding. They all know what's going on. They've been on every email. They've been copied. They saw me pleading to have that price reduced. They saw the communications between me and the mayor. They knew this was going on the whole time. They haven't said a thing. They know the discrepancy about this travel policy. As Councilman Johnson said, he'd be willing to be one of the three. You saw me put a motion on the floor to hold up all of our travel reimbursements until we establish a written policy. None of them supported the motion. So with support of that motion, that's exactly what would have happened. We would have sat down and established a policy. I sent the email the night of our meeting on May the 6th to the mayor, the entire council, the city attorney, and one other, I think it may have been the clerk, asking for us to sit down and establish a written policy to schedule a meeting. Not one response, other than the city attorney basically responding in a way that is to protect the city should I sue them. And that's my personal opinion. So what we're doing, I said it at the last meeting, nobody wants to look bad. But if you don't want to look bad, then you don't treat people any kind of way. If you do, then own it. Because that is what's going on here. And for those of you who are tired of hearing about this, imagine how I feel living with it. I have to live with this as an elected official in this city, and I'm sick of it myself. But if I have to stand up and fight for myself to make it easier for people who are coming behind me, that's exactly what I'm going to do, and I don't care who doesn't like it. And speaking in terms of the travel policy, so that there is no misunderstanding, we don't ask each other for permission to go for education and training. We know what types are permissible. None of them have ever informed me that they're going to training. They've never asked my permission. There's no policy that states what's acceptable and what's not. I forwarded all of the documentation for my travel to the head of our finance department, receipts to verify what type of meeting it was. It was a public meeting. They denied my hotel stay only. They have approved hundreds of thousands of dollars in travel expenses for themselves and other elected officials for years. As soon as I went to the annual Congressional Black Caucus meeting in Washington, D.C. and only asked for hotel reimbursement, they said no. The last meeting, they approved the exact same type of request. That's what makes it sting much more. It's different if one is green and one is yellow. They denied mine, but you sit here and you continuously approve travel requests for each other, but have nothing to say when I ask you what the difference is between me and you. There is no difference. We are all elected, and even Council President Godbout is still on our level. With the exception of you all getting together and agreeing to allow him to be the Council President, he is square on our level. So it is absolutely absurd. All of the paperwork was submitted, and I'm sick of it. I am totally appalled, as should be the community, because they did not empower us to selectively approve things for our friends, and then whoever speaks out in a manner that is not appreciated, then you don't give it to them. But the law is still the law, and it will be upheld. At the end of the day, it will be. So again, I appreciate the support of the community. Please check my Facebook page. There's going to be some awesome changes that I'm going to be proposing, and more resources that I'm going to be bringing to the city of Westland. And I would like to state in closing, I was accused of, my travel policy was accused of being unethical by Councilman Hart. Council President Godbout made the motion to table my expense reimbursement. And when I asked to table everyone else's, it was not supported. So before everybody chimes in with what seems really reasonable, I'm stating the facts. And if I am in any way incorrect, I'm not incorrect because I'm living this. So I just wanted to clarify, do not let us lie to you. Politicians are really good at it. So thank you, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Councilman Hammonds?
Thank you. With regards to the city hall rental, we should all be paying the same rate. It shouldn't be different for individuals that are elected. Everyone should be paying the same rate. All the residents, I should be paying the same rate as any resident walking in here that wants to rent out City Hall or any of the other rentals across the community. Everyone should be paying the same number. So we will have to have it looked into. We have to find out why there was a different rate charged, but it definitely is not fair. It's not right. There should be no special treatment here. With regards to the council travel policy, I'm in favor as well as sitting down and having a discussion on a travel policy. I believe that it sounds like to me 3 council members have now requested this. So if we could get a study session set up or a committee formed to get the travel policy wrote out, that would be great. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Councilman Londo?
Thanks, President Pro Tem. I'll start with the travel policy. I also agree we should be sitting down here soon and talking about it. Look forward to hearing everybody's input on that. As far as the City Hall rentals, I agree as well. If, we should all be paying the same rates on those, so look forward to seeing more info on that. I want to thank the Parade Council. Where's Dan? There's Dan. Thank you for again announcing it. I had it on my list today. Just want to remind the community to show up a little bit early. The parade does start at 1 p.m., but there's going to be road closures, so they're suggesting to get there as early as 12:30. And there will be a reception at the VFW Post 9885, the Bova Hall, and that's located at 6440 North Hicks Road. There'll be hot dogs, chips, and beverages for those who would like to continue the celebration for the military veterans and their service to our great nation. This past Friday, the City of Westland and the Mayor's administration honored our second Mayor, Gene McKinney, here at City Hall. It was a wonderful ceremony dedicating our grand ballroom here at City Hall after him. I was proud to announce with many of the local dignitaries here as well, and very happy for Mayor McKinney and his family to see that honor. So whenever anyone's at City Hall, make sure to stop in the grand ballroom and take a look at the plaque. Also last week, the Westland Police Department held a ceremony to honor the retirement of Lieutenant Daniel Serrano, the promotions of 4 officers, and the swearing in of 3 new police officers. I want to start by thanking Lieutenant Serrano for his dedicated service to our community and hope he enjoys his retirement. Also, congratulations to Lieutenant Kevin Swope, Sergeant John Gaddy, Sergeant Jeffrey Capodra, and Sergeant David Archambault on your new leadership positions. We also had new police hires included, which included Raquel O'Garrick, Jackson Gilbert, and Zach Whitehouse. And with these openings, it also provided an opportunity for the hiring of 3 police service aides who will begin to go to the police academy. So congratulations to them as well. And I just want to end by thanking the mayor and his administration for continuing with the 9th annual Wild About Youth Works program. We had an event here at City Hall a few weeks ago. There were many students here. Had an opportunity to meet with a record number of over 20 business partners and received exposure to over 150 job openings in the community. Students completed activities in financial literacy, dressing for success, workplace etiquette, interview and resume tips, as well as practicing those new skills through on-site interviews with our partners. So again, I was here. I want to thank the mayor's administration. Mo was there. He was doing the Dress for Success program. So really is a team effort putting that together. Special thanks to Fifth Third Bank for their sponsorship this year, and a big thank you to all the Westland business partners who helped make this year's event a success. Thanks.
Councilman Hart.
Thank you. Where to begin? I'll try and be brief. To answer Mr. Graham's question, of course I agree with everybody else. Everybody should pay the same rate. Obviously I would feel that way. It was my understanding I thought it had been handled, so that's why I didn't address it any further. I guess I'm incorrect in that clearly, so I will be able to obviously line up next to my colleagues and agree that everybody should pay the same rate. It shouldn't be different. I know there's a lot of different mechanics involved with the room, whether size, whether you use the cooling room or the warm room or not. There's other little a la carte add-ons, but agree, it doesn't matter. With regards to the travel policy, I have asked to be on that travel policy. I've been involved in corporate for America for a long time, so I understand a travel policy. Let's be clear here. I don't care who would have submitted that travel policy. Anybody on this bench, I would have called that an unethical move, clearly. It just happens to be Councilwoman Green. So the travel policy is that doesn't exist, but the travel that was submitted was very, very, very unique. All of us council members sit here on this bench. We're encouraged to go to MML, which is Michigan Municipal League. We're encouraged to go to SEMCOG training. We're encouraged to go to Conference of Western Wayne, the GLWA, things that affect us locally here in our community. I've been to a number of these trainings with my colleagues, Councilwoman Green a number of times, to be exact. Her and I went to the Elected Officials Academy kickoff. Her and I went to You Just Got Elected, Welcome to Politics training together. And then I went on to level 2, which they didn't attend level 2. I went to level 2. But all of these expenses have always been paid. They've always been paid to her. They've always been paid to me. The different outlier here is two things. When you're talking about another council person, the council president, as elected by us, does go to ICSC conference once a year. That's where he happens to be right now. ICSC conference is paid for by the DDA and the TIFA. Doesn't come out of general fund, it comes out of the DDA and the TIFA. They send him, the mayor, and a couple other people that go out there to this event and work really hard to bring business back to the city of Westland. We know this happens. This happens every year. It's a common recurring thing. So again, all council members on this bench, encouraged to go to MML. Please go to MML. Go to the conferences, go to every single one. I will stand behind and support every single one of those training events. What's unique is if I decide on my own free will to leave state, hop on a plane or a car, drive to Washington, D.C., and go to any caucus meeting that I decide to go to. I could go to the NRA caucus. I could go to the Right to Life caucus. I could go to the pro-abortion caucus. There's 300 different caucuses out there. And what makes it more unique is that I go to that caucus and then I don't expense that. I sit on it for 6 months and then I decide to expense it. What changed over 6 months? 6 months ago you didn't think it was valuable, now you do. Now you lay that at the foot of the taxpayer. And now the answer is, well, there's no policy. No one says I can't, so therefore I can. Ladies and gentlemen, we're a city council. We're held to a higher standard of care, not a higher standard of privilege. Okay? And just for the same reason we've called out someone else on this bench for that kind of behavior, we call that out as well. That is highly irregular. Now, if someone came to me, one of my colleagues, and said, I would like to go to this event, I think it's valuable, then let's talk about it. But that's highly irregular. Right now, the argument is it doesn't say I can't, therefore I can't. That means I can just do whatever I want and go wherever I want. And if I don't get it expensed, it's clearly discrimination. No, it's unethical. Since there isn't a policy in place, that's where ethics picks up. Ethics picks up that gap between what's allowed and what should be done, could versus should. That is an unethical expense, and I won't support it. And that's why I want to be in the travel policy, because it's a shame. After 51 years, we have to have a rule that nobody else needed before. Common sense didn't prevail. With that, I apologize. This weekend is Memorial Day. I would ask that you all please remember what Memorial Day is for. I ask that you remember that Memorial Day is for veterans who lost their lives in the line of duty in service of this country. I, as a veteran, always appreciate when you say Happy Memorial Day to me. but understand that's what it's really for. So I know you have busy weekends. A lot of us have family that comes in and visits. Have the barbecue, but please, in your own moment, think about one of them and remember what their sacrifice was for. And if not, I'll see you on the Memorial Day Parade. Thanks, Dan. Thank you.
I'll start by thanking the two students that led us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. Thanks for coming out and standing in front of the crowd, possibly for the first time. And that's James Koch II and Isabella Smith from Elliott Elementary. Thanks for leading us in the pledge. And then just a couple of recaps of announcements. As we've all kind of mentioned, the Veterans Memorial Day Parade is this Sunday at 1 p.m. That's going to be starting at John Glenn High School. It's going to move up Carlson, up Central City, and head towards the library. So you'll be able to watch from anywhere along that route. That's at 1 p.m. on Sunday. State Representative Kevin Coleman has announced a town hall event, which will also take place at the library. That's on June 8th. I didn't get the time for that. 11 a.m. That's going to be at 11 a.m. at the library on June 8th, town hall. And then real quick, Mr. Graham, I was out of town, and I had several emails backed up. I unfortunately didn't get to read that thoroughly and go through that, but we've all heard the story. And kind of what I've taken notes from here and from your comments as well is that we got 3 different people that were mentioned today, then they were charged 3 different prices. But we need to look into it because I don't know who charged Godbout. I don't know if he went to the counter or if he called City Hall. I don't know who gave him that price. We know when Councilwoman Green asked the mayor gave her that price, and then there was a price named from a resident. I don't know. We need to look at straightening that out and fix any irregularities that are taking place with hall rentals. So, and then in regards to the travel policy, yeah, we need a study session. Normally, we'd have to go to a subcommittee on policies and procedures to look at updating that. Perhaps we could skip right over that and just go into a study session and bring in our suggestions. That might be a little bit faster. And then there were no travel vouchers today, so I'm not sure why that conversation came up from the last meeting. I think that's about it. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.